Hey guys, Brandon Zerbe here to talk about my 3 minimalist perspectives on purchases. So the other week I was out with a coworker when she asked me which Jeep rims I liked better. It just so happens that there were 2 identical white Jeeps parked next to each other, with the only difference being the silver or black rims. And I answered with, I think I like the black rims better because the silver are stock. And I thought about how stupid that answer was afterwards. Like, if the black rims were stock and the silver were extra, would I think the silver were cooler? Like, what even is cool and how am I determining that? And this reminded me of a dilemma I once had when I was purchasing my Chevy Malibu a few years ago. I had spent weeks pondering whether I should spend $3,000 on the upgraded rims. I knew I was going to be having the car for 5 to 10 years, so getting rims I like at the time felt like something that was pretty important. And I spent weeks pondering something so meaningless that eventually I just went ahead and went with the stock rims. And now 5 years later, I've had the car. I've never once regretted not paying extra for the nicer rims. No one would have noticed if I got them, not even myself. And they would have served no functional purpose and would have cost me weeks worth of wages. But it's purchasing decisions like these where I've found a minimalistic perspective to be particularly useful. When is it worth buying something and paying extra for added features? When is it worth paying for something that's cool? And will I still think it's cool tomorrow? And just what sort of frameworks do I use when I'm making purchasing decisions? Well, today I'm going to detail those 3 minimalist perspectives I have to make purchases that I don't regret. So, let's get into it. So first, I prioritize function above all else. So when I'm making these purchases, I usually think to myself, what is this thing's function? What sort of problem is it solving? What is it doing for me? How sure am I that it's gonna solve the problem? Do I not already have something that will solve the problem already? Is this solution gonna cause other problems? Is this problem even worth solving? Honestly, I ask myself so many questions when I'm making these purchases that it makes a lot of things just not worth buying. And I often spend weeks making sure that my answer is consistent and that I'm sure that this thing is going to provide added value and functionality. Now, do I go through this entire process for every purchase I make, like buying strawberries at the grocery market? Yes, I often spend weeks pondering which strawberries to get until they've rotted and they're just no longer worth buying. That's how this works. No, I'm just kidding. This process is usually more rigorous with bigger purchases and less rigorous with smaller purchases, but the framework is the same no matter what. I prioritize function and I want something that serves a purpose. So for example, if someone were to give me a free t-shirt and I were to think through how that t-shirt would function in my life, it probably wouldn't make it into my weekly t-shirt lineup and therefore is just going to sit in a drawer, unused, taking up space, becoming clutter. And therefore I found it best just to pass on the free t-shirts. And another example of this is when I seriously considered buying a jet ski. I mean, everyone on a jet ski is happy. How can this be a bad purchase? But when I thought through the benefits of just a few hours of excitement for what it would require, such as buying a trailer to tow it, docking space to park it, storage for the winter, and just weekly gas to use it, at the end, when I thought through this entire process, the purchase just wasn't worth everything else that came along with it. Second, I don't even know what cool is. I mean, how many times have we seen a purse or sunglasses or any sort of object where we just had no idea how expensive or cheap it was? I mean, if I were to see someone wearing a Rolex, would I even know that it's a Rolex or just a knockoff that was purchased at a thrift shop? No. I mean, I probably wouldn't even know if that person's Rolex was working or broken. I'm probably not going to spend the time looking at the face to see if the time is right and the hands are moving. But I mean, if you own a Rolex, does it even matter if it works? I don't know. So it's things like these where I'm like, I don't even know what cool is, or I think about purchases and I'm just like, it's not even worth it. What's the point? Another example would be diamonds. I mean, I don't think it's possible to tell the difference between a lab created or a real diamond unless you're looking under a microscope. So why pay extra for a diamond where you can't tell the difference from looking at it and you can't tell the difference from its functionality? I mean, it looks and behaves the same way. So I mean, I'm sorry, future wife, but I'm probably not going to get you a real diamond. I'll go with the cool lab-grown specimen. Or is it cool? I don't know. What's cool to me may not be cool to you, and it may not even be cool to me tomorrow. I don't know what cool is, so I try not to pay extra for things that are cool. But sometimes I fail and buy a car that's red because it's cool. And third, quality over quantity. For the most part, I value quality over quantity for many different things. Sure, there's a higher upfront cost when paying for things that are of higher quality nature, but a lot of these things end up paying for themselves over the lifespan. So recently I used this perspective when buying a chair for my office space. Typically my parents have purchased, say, a $150 chair from Staples that ends up breaking down after about 2 years. So this time around when I bought an office chair for my space, I decided to spend a lot more and spent $600 on a nice office chair. And sure, this might not seem minimalistic, but the truth is it has a 12-year warranty, so the cost per year is going to be cheaper than that Staples chair. I also don't have to spend every 2 years going through that buying process again to determine the functionality. I don't have to ask myself those 1,500 questions on functionality each time I'm buying a chair every 2 years. And it has more ergonomic features that allow me to have a healthier and more comfortable sitting experience. So this is just one example where I think quality matters a lot more than quantity. So here are my final thoughts. It can be easy to just purchase every cool knickknack that we see, or make snap decisions on purchases for things we think will improve our lives. But over time, many of these objects are going to start to become clutter, they're going to take up space, and they're going to become more trouble than they're worth. So these are the 3 minimalist perspectives I've used to create better purchasing decisions. First, I prioritize function above all else and make sure I consider all aspects of what I'm buying. Second, I try not to pay extra for cool because cool is so subjective and my opinion on cool changes day to day. And third, I value quality over quantity. This reduces the number of purchasing decisions that I have to make over years, and usually the long-term value is worth it. These 3 perspectives have allowed me to live a more clutter-free and less wasteful life. A life that I think is both healthier and happier. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you like this video, please let me know by hitting the like button. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Lastly, I offer a free health kit which has my top 10 sleep tips, 1 Whole Foods plant-based recipe, and mobility workout that you can stream on any device. There's a link down in the description for that. And also you get to sign up for my weekly newsletter, where I offer the 3 most important things I've read, watched, and listened to within the past week. All of that completely free. Link down in the description if you're interested in that. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.